All of our devotional leaders, we have some here, some FCA guys, some guys from First Baptist here, and any guest speakers we've had over the years for these guys to grow, not only as players, but as men. And I think all you guys played ball for my brother during the summer, and he's here today. So thank you guys for putting in the time and effort for these guys to improve on the field, but off the field as well. My first memory for you guys is 2018. We had a couple guys in this group run our anvil. So it's the Iron Jacket Challenge. And so the anvil, we call it the anvil because the player simulates the piece of metal. And the hammer are you guys, the parents, the FCA leaders, the administrators, the coaches, just chiseling away at their life, making them into the person that they are today. And then the metal dipped in the fire before you hit on it so that you can shape it into what they need to be. That's the adversity that they go through as teenagers, all the stress that they go through, maybe the injuries that they go through. And then when you dip that piece of metal into water, that's the victory that they experience, the resiliency of being able to bounce back and accomplish something great. So that's my first memory as a couple of seventh graders getting out here and running the anvil for the first time of this class. Then they moved on to the eighth grade, and I think Sam practiced with us a couple times that year, maybe started practicing with us, just a little bitty thing. I don't even know if he was 100 pounds yet, but, and then I remember that year, Trey Mooney throwing a no-hitter against James Clemens, and Trey Higgins hitting a walk-off home run off the batter's eye in one of the backfields. After that game was over, we come back here to this dugout and we see these guys playing Pell City on President's Day of 2018. Hayes Harrison is on the mound. Peyton Watts had just hit a double, and I think they beat them like 5-4. And a lot of those guys they play with during the summer. But I think, and that brings me to my speech today, and I'm going to get a little long-winded because these guys deserve it. It brings me to something that you see all the time: pay it forward. When I first got here, a guy by the name of John O'Wall, my first day on the job was taking ground balls. Coach May knows John O, one of the best shortstops ever come through here. John O'Wall was taking ground balls at short, and Saxon Butler was hitting balls off the top of Martin's when I got here, when I got the job here. And guys like Judd Edwards and Trey Pilkington was in the 9th grade. And when Judd Edwards and Trey Pilkington were seniors, guys like Jackson Stevens, Tucker Simpson, Matthew Goodson, Zach Lovern, and those guys were middle school players. And to see those guys go off, and Trey played at Alabama, Judd played at Louisiana Monroe, and come back here and take ground balls during the summer when they're playing college, and let the young guys see those guys do those things, and then those dreams, you know, like I want to be that guy one day. And then you got Joe McGuire and Trent Simpson coming back when they were playing at JSU, and they were taking batting practice with us during the summer, during our summer workouts. You got a little bitty guy named Trey Higgins as a 5th grader. His dad was bringing him up here to get catching lessons during that time, and he was able to see Joe McGuire and Trent Simpson play. And Joe had ended up getting OVC Pitcher of the Year, and Trent Simpson was All-American designated hitter for JSU. Now Trey Higgins is on and playing at the next level, and these guys were able to see some of those guys and able to play with some of those guys, the Trey Moonies and the Trey Higgins. Now, your responsibility. 5-10 years down the road, it's your responsibility to pay it forward to the next 10-year-old kid that I saw last night at the cheer showcase tap my shoulder and say, "Hey, Sam Robertson still has another year to play baseball, doesn't he?" I said, "Yes, sir, he does." And he's like, "Good, I want to be just like Sam Robertson." So I got a big responsibility, and once you put that Oxford Yellow Jacket baseball jersey on, it never comes off. You're going to spend 4 to 5 years at these colleges over the next year, and you're going to graduate from there, and you're going to have great careers. But you got a responsibility because you committed to these colleges, but you commit to Oxford baseball for life. And you got a responsibility. Just like the grandpa teaching his son, and his son teaching the grandkid, and that grandkid teaching generation from generation. So the responsibilities that we got as dads, you guys have a responsibility as well to make those 10-year-old dreams come true like yours did. So, next page, Jimbo Fisher. Most importantly, you guys do it the right way. The way you hustle on and off the field, you know, the way you hold each other accountable, the leaders that you are. Like, you don't know this, and those guys out there won't tell you, but you're an inspiration to them each and every day. And right here is their dream. And you're getting to see that come true today. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go with each individual player, not in any particular order. Their names are in different order than I've got them here. But I'm going to talk about each individual player's maybe moment that I thought that they became a guy, or maybe they're a funny moment or two. And then I'll turn it over to them and let them talk about why they chose that school. And then once we get all of the guys completed, then we will all sign at once. Okay, and then after we all sign at once, and then we will move 4 families out and just get 1 family in at each time while the others kind of sit back. Once we get all individual families with pictures, with diamond dolls, with players, friends, and all that, then everyone will move up to the refreshment area, and we'll still keep 1 person down for interviews for all the media guys that we have here today, so that they're not chasing you around. And you know, this is not a great big place, but it's pretty cool when it's really full like it is today. Okay, Hayes Harrison, also known as Big Poppy. The summer of 2018, talking to his teams on the backfield at Chocolaca Park. I think I was helping them coach their summer league. So I went down, and I think I went over base running that day. And at the end, I'm going to get on this side. At the end, I think I kept all the left-handed pitchers there, and we went over a left-handed pickoff move. And he was like, really? You know, and we were actually working on the balk move first to be able to kind of find that happy medium. And I don't know, just that day was a moment that I just felt like he had a connection with Oxford. And less than a year and a half later, after that moment, he's pitching in the semifinals of the county tournament. A year and a half after 2018, I think you were in the 7th grade, 8th grade maybe. So that was like a big moment for me. And I did, as a freshman, I think then, I don't think it was a big moment for him. And it was the right decision because we got a ground ball by the left-handed hitter to first base. And it was bases loaded, 6th inning. The game was tied. Semifinals county tournament. He gets his first shot on the mound. Okay, now we'll move on. It says, I'm not going to read that again. Okay, this past year, 2022, opening day, 3 base hits against Coleman. The next day, throws 5 or 6 innings versus Mobile Christian, strikes out 8, gives up 5 hits, shuts down an SEC commit that day, and we get our first win of the year in 2023. So those were a couple of moments. I will say this, last year, and the guys know this, 80% of the time you came to watch us play a game, that guy got a base hit. 50% of the time you guys came to watch a game, he had multiple base hits. And 99.9% of the time you will find this joker right here locked in with his body language, focus, and self-talk. And the reason I say 99.9% of the time because there was one moment that he wasn't locked in. We had a chance to turn a double play, and we got the force out at second base, and he's playing first. So I think Sam throws it over to Peyton, and we got that force out, and he just takes off running to the dugout, and the ball almost hits him in the back. There were only 2 outs. So that's why I say 99.9% of the time. Last little story, we're playing Bob Jones 2021. He's out there on the mound. It's the 8th inning. The game was tied. Their best hitter was up. He'd already hit a home run. I call time, the mound visits are the best. Our guys will tell you, if somebody has a tape recorder, you can probably sell those on eBay for the highest bidder because they're interesting. But this mound visit was really special. Caleb Thomas, he's the guy that's working out for a college right now and getting a visit on campus, and he's a 2023 graduate as well. So we look forward to him and some other guys signing later on. So we'll go out there on the mound, and I said, Hayes, this guy knows that you're not throwing a fastball, but we're going to throw him one. And you're going to throw it about 2 to 4 inches off the plate. Caleb Thomas, you're going to give the best frame job and present it to that umpire to make it look as best you can possibly look. And he's going to take it. We're going to strike him out. And oh my goodness, that's what happened. And Higgins hit a walk-off home run next inning, so he gets to win that day. Sam Robertson, to me, I remember him running the anvil at a very young, 7th grade or 8th grade? 7th grader, ran our Iron Jacket Challenge. He was, in my mind, and I've never told his dad this, but in my mind, he was good enough in the 8th grade at shortstop to play shortstop on our varsity. And looking back on that season, I probably should have made that move. I just thought he was a little young to take that chance. And being at the middle school playing on the varsity, sometimes he probably would have liked it because we get out of school a lot. So I have to go pick him up. But anyways, so 9th grade year, broken ankle at the beginning of the year, COVID year, didn't really get to play much. 10th grade year, I think it was the second weekend, we're facing a left-handed pitcher. First fastball he saw, he hits it off the wall in left center, and now he's standing on third in about 2 seconds. One time, Sam's so fast, one time he hit a line drive up the middle and hit him in the back, sliding into second base. That was a joke. But he is pretty fast. Speed kills. If you don't have it, you're chasing it, and everybody's always chasing Sam Robertson. Okay, so 10th grade year comes up. He's playing infield, playing shortstop for us. And in my mind, he can play short, second, third, left field all at the same time. Sometimes we put the shift on and we just leave Sam the only guy on the left side of the diamond because he can cover all that ground. Junior year, to me, showed some big-time growth at the plate. And listen to this. And you're going to think I'm lying when I tell you what he did in his last 10 games last year. And most of you guys know. In his last 10 games, last year, the 2022 season, 28 hits. His last 10 games, that's 10 games, 28 hits, almost 3 hits a game. 8 of those were doubles, 3 of those were triples, 2 of those were home runs. In his last 10 games, he had 22 RBIs, 24 runs scored. And you think I'm lying. Like, that's unheard of. The 6 for 6 the night of Gardendale in the first round, then hit 2 home runs in the second round. Every area opponent, he had 2 to 3 hits. So I just thought he showed great growth as a hitter. Probably a lot of pressure on him committing to a SEC school as a sophomore, and a lot of eyes are on him, and he kind of struggled through that, but that's the part of the adversity that we talk about a baseball player goes through. And this did a lot of homework, a lot of batting practice, a lot of educational approaches for him, and just saw a lot of growth. Peyton Watts, freshman year. Was that the COVID year? That was COVID year. Okay, so freshman year, we're in a little bit of a pickle. He's coming late for us from basketball. I think Sam had broke his leg, and so we didn't really know what we were going to do in the middle. And we put this guy at second base for a few games and then put him at short for a few games. And Coach Shannon, for 13 games, 0 errors as a freshman. First start, I believe, might have been against Vestavia. He was 2 for 3 that night. Made several plays in the infield, and obviously hitting from the left side. And he's probably more advanced as any hitter that I've ever coached. But that was a moment for me that I knew that he was going to be a guy for us. And then speed was an issue for him when he was younger. But that summer, I saw him multiple days per week working out with Doug Strotman, just trying to work on, him being, bigger, faster, stronger. So I just knew he had that commitment. I'd also see him hitting at Oxford Lake with his dad, and there's probably still days today that he goes. I think they called me like last week or a couple weeks ago, like, hey, Coach, can we hit somewhere? And I think y'all ended up going up there. So his biggest moment to me, I think he was unhittable in, I think it might have been 2021 county tournament against Alexandria. Came in with bases loaded maybe, and we were in trouble. He had just pitched the 2 shutout innings against, who was that team in the showdown? He just pitched 2 shutout innings in Cartersville on Thursday. For some reason, our coach likes to schedule 2 tournaments going on at the same time. I don't know why he does that. But so he pitched 2 shutout innings on Thursday, and then we're trying to save him, I think, for the finals of that county tournament. We run into some trouble. He takes the mound, and I think he throws a shutout in the complete game, the entire game. We had to take him out and put Trey Mooney in at the end because his pitch count was at 100. So, but that was a big moment for me. And then last year, during area play, he pitched 17 innings during area play. And that's Springville, Pell City, and who was the other one? Springville, Pell City, Southside. Pitched 17 innings, struck out 20 batters, gave up 6 hits, 3 walks, 2 earned runs. Jackson Crow. I think the first encounter I had with him and his parents, we were at a banquet at Top of the River. And I had a conversation maybe with Jackson and his mom. And I had just heard about this as one of the hardest throwing kids in Calhoun County at that age, maybe 12, 13, I can't remember exactly. But a few years later, he's on the mound throwing in our umpires clinic against Moody, and he strikes a guy out. And the umpire, does his little strikeout move that he does. Jackson Crowe did the exact same thing on the mound. He did his little strike. He's like, yeah, I like that. And he kind of rung him up himself. I'll always remember that. So he grew stronger, much stronger. He worked harder and improved through some varsity and JV games his sophomore year. And then last year in the National High School Showdown in Hoover, Alabama with perfect game, he got to start Mobile Christian. And he ended up getting to win that game against Mobile Christian, as well as a big-time strikeout opponent in, heck, I can't remember, it was one of the last games of the year. He also pitched in the very last game of the year, 2/3 of an inning, and I got a message from Colby Rasmus's dad, Tony Rasmus, and like, Coach, who is this guy that you brought in the last to get the last 2 outs out? Oh my gosh, he's unreal. And he also made a comment about him, was it 535? What's your deadlift max? 545. That made the comment on social media that he thinks that might even be a state record for a high school kid. So obviously he has gotten much stronger, but he's got big time energy. We call him our CEO, our Chief Energy Officer, very contagious. He didn't play this summer or didn't anticipate playing this summer. He's like, I just want to focus on my body, see how my body unravels. He went down to Florida Baseball Ranch. They put him through a tester, kind of tested of what, because each guy is different. You know, he's a short, stocky, strong guy, and we got Drew McCormick. He's 6'5", 205. They're two different guys. So teaching this guy to do the same thing as that guy, to me, is not, you know, in same way in the classroom. Kids learn different. Kids learn by seeing. They learn by doing. You can show Sam Robertson a picture of Derek Jeter doing a video of Derek Jeter doing something, and Sam will do it. But if you try to tell him, Sam's like, huh? Well, Peyton Watts, he wants to know every muscle, every bone, every tendon, every fiber that's moving and why it's moving left, right. So they just all learn different. So goes down to Florida Baseball Ranch, improves, I must say. He goes to the Alabama Baseball Coaches Association event. I think I sent him and a couple of guys a text. And I was like, hey, this is an event that I think you'll do okay at. So he goes there. A lot of coaches are there. And there's just one coach, Coach Kimbrell from East Mississippi Community College. Coach Casey Dunn, that was at Sanford, that now is at UAB, he's calling me and he's like, man, this coach from East Mississippi is just following one of your players all over this event. And I think in the meantime, he had gotten Miss Crowe's number, called me a couple times, wanted to know a little bit more about him, along him with another player that didn't even know that he was on the same team at the time. And then the conversation that I had with Coach Kimbrell today, he said the other guy got snatched up by Jacksonville State. And we'll get to that guy here in a minute. But I guess they go on a visit. He loved it, and I think the personality, everything just kind of, y'all hit it off down there. Drew McCormick. I think when Drew was 10, I thought he was going to be a professional basketball player, because over there at Grace Baptist Church, my daughter was on the same team along with RJ as well. That sucker didn't miss from outside. He was already kind of tall and lanky, so I just knew he was going to be a really good basketball player. And then as time went on, for some reason, every time I would go during the summer and watch him pitch, he was always pitching, and he always won. And I just think I just got lucky on always going to those times that you pitch during the summer, and I was like, man, this guy's going to be a good pitcher. Then he grows 1.5 feet in about 1.5 years, and during that time period, last year, preseason, we're throwing a bullpen. He's throwing pitches. He's got an 87-mile-an-hour fastball that has 16 to 18 inches of horizontal break. And I had told him, I didn't tell him, I told our coaches that night, I said, he's going to be our opening day starter against Coleman. I said, he's got some good enough stuff here, and we need to throw him in the fire on opening day. Didn't tell him that, but that next week, he's pitching in the umpire's clinic, and then he hit a double down the third base line. He rounds first base, and he injures his hip. He's got a bone fragment that pops up in his hip flexor, which was a pain in the butt for about, a couple months there. So we're over there on the side, and then his mom comes to check on him, and then next thing you know, the trainer is helping the mom. I don't know, got a little overheated. It's her son on the ground, right? The son's on the ground hurt, and she's, and then he's like taking care of his mom. So I thought that was just kind of a cool moment. I don't wish that moment again, but I just thought that was kind of funny there. He was able to come back and play, 3 or 4 games at the end of the year. He ended up in those 4 games. He got 4 hits as a player and threw 4 innings for us on the mound. So he goes to the same ALA BCA event at the end of the summer. He had a good summer. He played. He goes to that same event, and a lot of coaches are calling about him. And there's a JSU baseball fall showcase that guys like Ben Tootle, Taylor Sparks, Joe McGuire, Austin Jones have went to that fall showcase right at the beginning of school in August, and they've had some success, and they actually were signed out of that fall showcase camp at the beginning of the year, being an unsigned senior at that moment, and a lot of schools kind of hold out one scholarship for those type of moments. So he goes up there and throws, and then Mom calls that maybe Monday or Tuesday, and I'm like, typically, Coach Case or Coach Bush or Coach Murphy would call within the next couple days. Well, they don't know this story, so they got Flight Scope, Rapsodo, and Mobile TrackMan at that event, which makes a scout's job lazy. They can go have lunch and then come back and read that technology stuff later. And then so a couple days later, they're reading that stuff and they see 87, 89, maybe bumps a 90 that day and horizontal run on his fastball. Wednesday, they call. Thursday, they call Drew, and next thing you know, he's going to be a Gamecock. Guys, you are committed to those colleges and universities, and what an awesome day it is here at Oxford Baseball. The work doesn't stop here. Sometimes you sign a scholarship and you feel like the work is done, but baseball, just like life, as soon as you feel like you got it figured out, it's going to turn around and get you if you kind of become complacent, and those guys are not. 5 or 10 years from now, after you graduate college, I want you guys to remember to continue to pay it forward like the guys before you did, and wanting to be an Oxford Yellow Jacket in the future, like the 10-year-old kid, Ryder, Rusty Riley's two boys. Riker, and those were the two guys last night that they didn't want to be the next Sam Robertson. And what an awesome responsibility that is for you guys to take on, to when you go to those schools and you come back during the off season to work out here at Oxford High School. Those guys are going to be in the weight room. These guys are going to be able to see you guys play, and they're going to be the next guy sitting down here in front of you guys. Love y'all boys. I really do, from the bottom of my heart. And I'm excited to what this season holds, and exciting for what your future holds. And on the count of 3, you guys will put your hats on. 1, 2, 3.
I'm the principal here at Jacksonville High School. And it's just a huge honor to welcome everybody to this signing ceremony. This is what I put in the category of the good stuff. It's always celebratory to acknowledge when one of our student athletes has the opportunity to play at the collegiate level. It's wonderful to see that, and we want to congratulate John and his entire family and his entire support group, because we know that this is a village, and it takes a village to get us where we want to go. So we want to welcome everyone. Just a quick moment of personal privilege. I'd just like to say, as John's principal, that it's been a pleasure to be your principal. John is a fine young man. He's a good student. He does things the right way. He sets a good example for others to follow. And those are the things that we know matter the most. I'll let others speak about his accomplishments as an athlete, which are many. And we'll say that we're not quite finished with that. Here we are, what's this, November 10th, and basketball season for 22-23 starts Saturday. And so we've got just a lot of fun to be had, and we're excited to watch John and all his teammates compete this season, and I know they'll continue to reach new heights and make us proud. So just from me, I'd like to welcome everyone and just personally congratulate John and his family on this accomplishment. I'll hand the program over now for a few minutes to Coach Buzon to make a few remarks, and then I think John has some things he'd like to say, and then we'll get to the business at hand, which is signing that letter. Thank you for being here. Coach Buzon.
All right, good morning, everybody. I'm Coach Buzon, head boys coach here at Jacksonville, and I'm just going to brag on this guy for a second. Okay, it's not hard to do. He has so many accolades, but let me comment on John a little bit first. John is an excellent basketball player, right? We all know that. I've been in Jacksonville for 20 years myself, playing here and coaching here. And I can honestly say, without a doubt, he's the best player I've seen walk through these halls. That's how special of a talent this guy is. But what's the most impressive about John is who he is off the court and in the locker room. He's a high character guy, which is no surprise. He comes from a great family that I've known a long time now. But he's the guy you can count on. He's a leader. And he's just a great guy through and through. And I know his teammates love him. They're so happy for him. I'm so happy for him. Everybody's here to celebrate him, John. We couldn't be more proud of you, man. So I know it's a big deal to you, but it's a big deal to this community to see you go on to big heights. So we're proud of you. All right, now let me go to the accolades. I had to write them down because there's so many. I couldn't memorize them. So, John, I don't know if I got all of them, but I got a lot of them, okay? John is a career 1,000-point scorer and counting. Hasn't had a senior year yet, so I'm sure that number's going to go up pretty significantly pretty soon. He's an all-area MVP, all-area tournament team. He's an all-county player, all-county team, all-regional team, a regional MVP, a regional champion. He is selected to the North-South All-Star Game. He is a 4A Player of the Year finalist, and he is a first-team All-State basketball player. Not to mention a state champion. Okay, John, like I said, we're so proud of you, special talent. But go do big things after high school, man, and let's have a good season this year. So I'm gonna hand it over to you, buddy.
Yes, sir.
Oxygen after reading all that.
Had to flip it over.
Wow. Yeah. First off, I just like to thank God for just everything He's done for me and just making all this possible, and Him guiding me throughout my recruiting process and helping me make the right decision to college. And second off, I like to thank my parents, my sister, for just keeping my head straight in school and just God knows, just thank you for telling me no to a lot of things, honestly. And just thank you for that. And my family who came today. I'm glad you guys came. And just thank my coaches, from Coach Mize from junior high to Coach Cordell Hunt to Coach Morrow in the back to Coach Buzon. Even Coach Hamby and Coach Weaver and Coach Pat, love you. And after that, I thank my team, all my guys. We go to war every day, and it's a blessing just to have you guys with us. And I know we run a lot, but it's gonna be worth it. I can promise you that. And for the end of it, just thank all of you guys, everybody for just coming. Honestly, it means a lot to me. And I ain't gonna hold y'all too long. So. Oh, and my AAU coaches, forgot y'all. Y'all my boys. And my trainers, Coach Kelly, Coach Jordan, Dad and Nate. My fault, y'all. My fault, y'all.
All right, so now, John, it's time for the official business to sign your letter of intent to play for the University of South Alabama Jaguars.
Should have signed it?
I think so. We need to ask Caleb, because Caleb plays at Georgia State now. Volleyball. So I think Kivo, his dad, told me.
Is it? It's official.
It's official.